Alright, so in this video we're going to cover the market structure that economists call perfect competition. And so what I mean by market structure is a market structure is a way in which firms and buyers interact. And so we already talked about the the requirements for perfect competition, what makes a market perfectly competitive, and now we're going to talk about the conclusions. So there are conclusions in the short run, which again is when capital is fixed. So I'm just going to write up here capital is fixed, which really means that firms can't open nor close. And then in the long run, capital is mobile, so firms can open or close. So I'll just write capital mobile. And that's going to make a big difference in the conclusions, and you can already just see, just by looking at them, there's a big difference. So I want to go ahead and just start off at point 1 for the short run and kind of go down and explain why all of these are true. So in the short run, price is determined by the current market, and prices can be anywhere. So I'm going to go over to the left, and we're going to draw just our regular supply and demand diagram for this entire market. So remember, this cost curve is just for one firm in the market, and we'll just call this firm A. So this is just one firm, not for the entire market. And then this is for the entire, this over here is for the entire market. So for the entire market, and I'm going to just try and draw this, that's horrible. I'm going to try and draw this so that it'll be the same height. It'll correspond to this graph over here, and you'll see why in a second. So over here we have price, and then over here we have quantity. And so let's say that our supply curve for this entire market looks something like this. So here's supply, and then I'm going to draw 3 different demand curves, and I'll do them in different colors so that we can talk about kind of different results. So let's say that one demand curve, and I'm going to try and line this up again, and I may fail miserably, is right there. So we'll call this D1. Then we'll make D2 to be, and I'm just trying to line this up because I know more or less where we're going. This will be, we'll call this not supply, but demand 2. And then we'll have demand 3 be way up here. So this can be D3. Okay, so demand can be any one of these 3, and supply could be different from this supply, but I don't need to change it right here. I can just change demand, and I'll do that just to keep it simple. So now we know that in the market, this is going to be the equilibrium price for D1, so we'll call this P1. And since this is the price for the market, and remember, in perfect competition, all firms and all buyers are price takers. They can't influence the price at all. So since this is the price in the market, this is the price that the firm has to go ahead and pay, or has to go ahead and charge, because they can't charge more for this, otherwise they won't sell any of their product. So this is the price that the firm can earn for its goods if this demand were to be the case. And so I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing for all 3 of these cases, and then we'll go from there. So if demand were to be D2, then price would be right, whoops, those go down a little bit too much. Price will be right here, and I want this to line up with 200, or just below 200. So that's where it's going to be, is just below 200. So that will be P2, and then we'll have P3 be kind of up here. And sorry that I have such a hard time drawing straight lines, but such is life. Okay, so this will be P3. Alright, so now we can forget about what the market is for a little bit, just because the market determines the price, and now the firm has to decide how much to produce. So we're going to go ahead and scroll back over here and start talking about how much the firm is going to produce. So that gets us, this is point 1. So price can be anywhere. It's determined by the current market. So we're done with that. Then second, supply is equal to marginal cost if the market price is above average variable cost. And if not, supply is equal to 0. So the way I want to explain this is that in the short run, the firm has to stay open. It has to do business. So all it can choose is how much of this do I want to produce? How much quantity do I want to produce? So if price is down here at P1, the firm can't even make enough just to cover its variable cost, to cover the increase in cost that it has to incur to produce another unit. So because it can never even cover its average variable cost, the average amount that it has to pay for one more unit of output, it's going to choose to produce nothing, because if it produces anything, it's losing even more money than what it can sell it for. So that's at P1. That's this part right here, where supply is equal to 0 because price is too low. So before we go any farther, I'm just going to go ahead and draw the supply curve for this firm, what it will be. So it will be this part in orange. So this will be supply, and then if price is lower than whatever this point right here is, which it seems like it's about, it's $133, I remember from last time, then it will be 0. So this is supply, this entire curve right here. Alright, so then if price is equal to P2, the firm will be able to make money on the units that it has sold right here. So whenever the price is above average variable cost, the firm will be making money on the average unit of production. So it will be better off to produce some goods and make either a profit or less of a loss than it would be to produce nothing, because it can make money on those goods. So here the firm would produce where supply is equal to price, which would be right about here, because after that the marginal cost, the cost of producing an additional unit, would be greater than the price. And so the firm would be losing money if it produced more goods if it produced out here. So it's going to go ahead and produce where this green dot is, and I think that that is maybe a little bit more than 36, but right around 36. So this would be Q2. And then finally, if price is way up here, then the firm will be making a positive profit, and it will produce all the way out here. So I'll keep this color coded, and this will be Q3. Alright, so the next thing that I want to talk about is what profit is. So we've done 2, we've done 3, and now I want to talk about what profit is in each of these situations. Alright, so at a price of P1, the firm doesn't produce anything. Supply is equal to 0. And you know what, I can even make that more explicit by saying, well, this is Q1, which is equal to 0. And the firm makes a loss of since it's producing no units of output, it has no variable cost, and it loses whatever its fixed cost was. And I can tell you, it's not pictured on this graph, but just from the previous videos, that this firm's fixed costs are $2,000. So this firm would make an economic loss of $2,000 because it has to pay that rent for the period or something like that. So at P1, and I'm just going to write this, I guess I'll write it up here. So P1 is a loss of $2,000. Now the firm cannot go out of business in the short run. So it's just going to lose $2,000, say, this month, and then decide whether or not it wants to stay open at the end of the month. Alright, so at P2, and this is the reason that I was drawing these so kind of carefully before, at P2, the firm makes 0 economic profit. And remember, profit is equal to total revenue minus total cost. So if you can see here, P2 is exactly where marginal cost intersects average total cost, which is at the minimum of average total cost. And so where profit, and profit is normally abbreviated with pi, so I'm just going to write that because I'm kind of running out of room here. So profit is equal to total revenue, which is just going to be price, which is $133, times price from right here. And you know what? I think it was more than $133. I don't remember what it was, but we'll go ahead and say that, let's go ahead and say that it's like 190. I don't really know what it is, but it seems close to 190. So it's 190, this is P, times Q, which is this Q2 right here. And I don't know what it is, but we're just going to leave it like that. You know what, I'll fill in a number for it. Let's go ahead and say that this is 38. And then, so this is P times Q. So this is total revenue. And then we have this minus total cost. Well, we have average total cost right here, and it's that exact same point. It's P. So it's also 190. And I just want to emphasize that again. Where prices, we have price is just exactly equal to where average total cost is right here. So and again, this is average total cost, not total cost, excuse me. So we have price times quantity for total revenue, and then we have average total cost times quantity to get us total cost. And when you look, we have the 190 times 38 minus 190 times 38, which equals a big fat 0. Because price is exactly equal to the average amount that it costs to produce a unit of output. So the firm earns 0 economic profit. And we're going to see that that is the case in the long run, always, for a different reason. So I just wanted to go ahead and do that in the short run so you can see how it might come about in the short run, but doesn't necessarily have to come about in the short run. So at P2, profit equals 0. And you know what, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite how this loss up here, and I'm just going to write that profit was a negative $2,000. So again, this same way of saying the same thing is that profit is equal to negative 2,000. Now at P3, the firm earns an economic profit. And we can see that because price is above average total cost at the amount of output that they choose. So again, price here is like, I don't know, maybe $375, and average total cost is way down here, just a little bit above 200. So the firm makes an economic profit of 375. So this is equal to P times quantity, which looks like, I don't know, it looks like 41 to me. And again, I'm just making all of these numbers up as I go. Minus, so this is price times quantity, which is total revenue, minus average total cost, which looks like about 210, times, again, 41. So 375 minus 210, you know what, I'm not going to figure out what that number is. You guys can figure it out if you want, but it earns a positive economic profit of a good amount. I don't know exactly what it is, and this video is going to be long anyways. Alright, so at P3, I just want to go ahead and write this out so that you have it as a visual. P3, pi is equal to a positive number. Let's just leave it at that. So it's positive. And again, should be able to draw a little bit better at this point. Okay, so that's all that we have in the short run. Price is determined by the market, and it can be anywhere. And then supply is equal to marginal cost if the market price is above average variable cost. When the marginal cost is above average variable cost, and it's equal to 0 if price is below average variable cost. And again, the reason for that is that the firm can't recoup any money if price is below average variable cost, so it won't produce anything. And if price is above average variable cost, then it will at least be making it less of a loss if it produces some units of output. Then third, the firm decides to produce where supply is equal to price. If price is below average variable cost, the firm shuts down in the short run, which means that it produces 0 units of output. So that would be like Q1. And then finally, firms can earn an economic profit or an economic loss, and they still stay in business because capital is fixed. So that brings us now to the long run. What happens when capital is mobile? When firms can start or shut down? So if the market price is at P1 and demand is at D1 right here, firms are going to shut down. And the other thing that I have to say is that, remember, in perfect competition, all firms are the same. There's no heterogeneity. There's no difference in firms. So at P1, firms are going to shut down. And what's going to happen is that firms are going to continue shutting down up until they can earn at least zero economic profit. So they're going to, what happens when firms shut down is that the supply of this market decreases. So we're going to make this supply 1. And because firms are shutting down, there's less and less firms supplying this, so price is going to rise. Or sorry, supply is going to decrease, which is going to cause price to increase. And I'm saying that supply is going to decrease all the way up until S2, where this is the intersection of supply and demand. This is D1 that I'm just going to continue a little bit. And so they're going to keep on shutting down until the point where they earn zero economic profit. Because remember, the economic profit is also taking into account all of the other ways that they could use their money. So they aren't earning extra returns on their money, but they aren't making less than they could anywhere else either. So if price is below the minimum of average total cost, firms are going to shut down, and that's going to drive price up to where average total cost is a minimum and everyone earns zero economic profit. Now, what if we are on demand 3 and price is above the minimum of average total cost? Well, in this situation, what's going to happen is that firms are going to enter the market. And they are going to, I'm going to have to redraw demand 3, otherwise this is going to make no sense. So let's say that, sorry about this, but I just didn't think to draw demand 3 for this part of the video. So, alright. So going back, here was our original supply. Here was supply 2. Now, I need to make this demand look like this. And you'll see why in a second. So if we're on demand line 3 and we were at the original supply at P3, firms are making an economic profit, which means that they're making more money in this industry than you could find in any other industry. Anywhere else that you could put your money, this is the best place to have your money. So obviously more and more people are going to enter this market because they can earn a positive economic profit. And firms are going to continue to enter this market up until the point where economic profit is equal to 0, where it would be make just as much money if they went somewhere else with their money. So firms are going to continue to enter this market until supply increases to supply 3. Where price is equal to the minimum of average total cost. Because in this case, no firm will earn an economic profit. And because there is absolutely no barrier to entry or exit, it's like you can start up a business instantaneously in this industry. That is what all firms will do. That is what any entrepreneur will decide to do up until the point that there are so many firms in this market that the price of the good that you're selling is not too high and you can't earn an economic profit. So going back, and I covered that kind of quickly, so if that doesn't make sense, pause, rewind, and rewatch it again. In the long run, all firms produce where average total cost is a minimum, because all firms in perfect competition are homogeneous. So they all produce at the minimum of their average total cost curve because of competition. Price is equal to the minimum of average total cost, again because of competition. And all firms earn 0 economic profit. So in the long run, every single firm is going to produce this much. The price is going to be P2, and the economic profit that every single firm earns is going to be 0, because that will be where price is exactly equal to the minimum of average total cost. So I hope that was clear. Let me know if it's not, and I will see you in the next video.